Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. I got a video today from acenate.
Feminist boy moms don't realize that shoving an anti-male idea like feminism down their sons' throats isn't gonna go well.
My 12-year-old son is constantly trying to poke holes in my theory that everybody should be a feminist.
12 years old and he's debating his mom.
12 years old and already knows enough logic to understand, yeah, you're full of shit, mom.
Trying to red pill her. It would be funny if it weren't so sad that his mother is forcing this on him.
And
again, remember, kids are very honest. I always say this, kids are great. They're the honest of honest, right? They're going to tell you straight up, hey, big nose, because you probably have a big nose, right? Or at least to their eyes, right? So when it comes to things like this, again, I've always said, kids are very objective. They're able to see everything. They're able to see men are stronger. They see men do all the harder work. They see how the world operates as a child without any filters from your input. And then you start infusing their input with feminism and all this other stuff, righteousness, morals, and things like that. That's when they start getting a little bit more confused. But they can see the world as is.
And he came in today, he said, Mom, will you believe me that men don't have it easier than women because they get drafted into the army? And I said, well, that's a really good point, buddy. What do you think about the fact that men are the ones that are starting the wars that are drafting other men?
A 12-year-old made a logically sound argument, and his mother responded with a logical fallacy. Let that sink in. She responded by raising a completely different issue. It doesn't matter that she said good point first. She never actually addressed what he said. It's textbook whataboutism. So who is really doing the critical thinking in that household?
Shout outs to the boy. Shout outs to young men out there, 12 years old. He's a young man, right? Young man going about the world. And I say young man because he knows, he understands, he's pushing back on the narrative that this whatever woman is instilled into him. And he understands the world doesn't work the way she's saying.
And he said, oh, well, I said, if women were in charge, there wouldn't be wars. And he said, well, yes, there would, because I know a lot of girls and they fight just like boys do. They all have fights. And I was like, sure, men and women both have disagreements, but it's far more likely that women's disagreements will be resolved by talking it out, while men's disagreements get resolved with violence.
No, men actually talk it out way more than women, and it only gets to the extremes is when men become violent with each other.
And he just walked away. So, keep doing the work, everyone. It is not easy, but it is noble.
And it was at that moment, as the boy walked away, he realized his mom didn't actually address his initial point. He just got a taste of feminist aversion to logic earlier than most boys ever will. The craziest part is, as he walks away, she thinks that dialogue actually moved him one closer to being a feminist.
Yeah, she thinks that she shut him down by that. And I was like, you didn't shut him down. You actually showed him you're illogical. You're not using any type of logic to actually speak against what he said to you. He knows you dumb.
When it's more likely it did the opposite. And also, research on European monarchies showed queen-led states engaged in war more often than king-led states. I wonder if in her Raising Feminists, Women Are Angels parenting book, it advises the parent to tell their kid that of children maltreated by biological parents, mothers were the primary perpetrator at 75%. I doubt it. You're hindering your own argument by acting like men and women are inherently different and a matriarchy would fix everything. He's right. Women start wars too. The actual goal of your feminism should be breaking down gender roles and pursuing equality regardless of gender. She says you are totally right, and I had a follow-up conversation with him to fix what I told him. And so this is the person holding feminists to account. If you believe women and men are equal, then why are you teaching your son that there is a biological difference when it comes to waging war and conflict resolution? Well, she didn't instinctively go that route because she's a feminist who wanted to brush off her son's very valid point and convince him of male corruption and female righteousness and superiority, not gender equality. Otherwise, she would have said, yeah, you know, women should be subjected to the draft if there is one as well.
Well, there actually is a news about the draft that now once you turn 18 in November or so, that you automatically get registered. You don't have to register yourself anymore. No, you automatically get registered.
Is equal, but she didn't. My 13-year-old son is about to have his spring dance, and he rejected a girl who asked him to that dance because she said she'd pick the bear. What do I do? Well,
my man, young men out there, you make me so proud.
you give him an attaboy. That's what you do, of course. Duh. Let me guess, he has a phone or a tablet? She replies, not a phone. Tablet pretty locked down. I admit I have room for improvement. He doesn't have YouTube access here, but gets it at his dad's.
Yeah.
I asked him where he's been hearing stuff like this. He said, mostly kids at school, but I thought of the draft thing myself. This actually gives me a lot of hope for the younger generation.
Damn, thought of the draft thing himself. My boy.
Credit to everyone out.
My bad. My young man.
Out there presenting an alternative message to the feminist hellscape, even if it is just in the comments section, because it's clearly having a cultural impact. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the feminist police state is in a panic over this. Good. Oh, and of course, she's separated from her child's father. This is why...
Of course she is. And this is why women that take possession of their kids end up ruining their kids. These single mothers instill these ideas, these socialist ideas, these feminist ideas, these man-hating ideas into their own children. So men grow up hating themselves and their daughters growing up hating men and their own brothers. These women do not realize they're creating much more hate in the world than they are trying to fix the world. Boys growing up this way end up being way more dark berserkers than any other man. Right? Because they grew up seeing how women operate at 12 years old. They saw how their mother operated at 12 years old. They see how the women around them operate. They're going to be so red-pilled. They're going to be such dark berserkers. The $40 holler, they're going to be living that life thanks to you. You created this.
Even before I decided I didn't want kids, I said I'd be having a girl or an abortion. Because you can do everything right and them still end up like this. It takes them being sat next to a red-pilled boy once and it's all over. Keep up the good work. You're trying to make a fish swim upstream and I have respect for that. This comment is a response to a 12-year-old boy bringing up the draft to his mother.
Logic.
That's it. And some hysterical woman decided that's grounds for aborting boys. Fucking sick. So comply or die, apparently. Yeah, comments like that radicalize boys faster than any red pill creator ever could.
I said this. This makes men, young boys hate women more than anything I've ever said. Anything else most of us have ever said. Because they can see the illogical inconsistent of men bad, women good. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And catch you guys next time. Ciao.